Welcome you guys to my channel. I had to switch recording software for all this, so if you're new here and you see something that you like, leave a comment and subscribe, hit the notification bell, whatever you need to do to see my videos. Go ahead and do it. Today we're going to be working on part 3. Now that I have brand new software, it'll be easier for you to hear me. We'll be able to do this easier, and we're going to keep going on with this dark history. Today we're working on part 3 of 10 dark early humans practices. Now I could go on and rant about all the videos that we have just watched within a very short period of time, but this is the one thing that of why I like this channel and want to grow my own channel. Reacting to things like this is entertaining for me, so I'm letting you guys see what entertains me. Right now we are working on the third and possibly the last third to last possible thing right here, and we are going to be working on the next 10. This is a marathon series on Most Amazing Top 10. Go check out their YouTube channel down in the description below. I have their information at whatever you need down below in the descriptions. Leave a comment on this video and to see what I see. I want to see what you guys think about my videos and stuff. If I keep ranting on and on and on, we're going to be here for another hour. So right now, we're going to jump into the next top 10. Let me know if the recordings get a little loud. I do go through all my recordings, but sometimes it's just a little loud on the other end, not on mine. So, let's do it.
At number 10, we have hunting patterns. Early humans had a lot of different techniques that they could use to make sure that they were the ones on top of every creature. If it wasn't for them, we wouldn't have been able to get to the point where we don't have to hunt anymore. And we're talking about cloning meat. Some of those factors were that humans can hunt in groups, that they can make weapons, and that they can throw spears over hands. All of these things were advantages over early hominids, but the most terrifying of all of them was the fact that early humans could run animals to death. A skill that humans have over other creatures is the ability to run long distances for extended periods of time. Other animals are much better sprinters, but something that separates us is the ability to run marathon lengths or longer. So a way humans would hunt would be to chase down its prey and have it sprint away, while humans were just jogging. When the animal thinks it's safe, it might relax for a moment, but then it would see humans approaching again, so it would sprint away again. The prey would once again settle down and then see humans running from far away. Early humans would literally run its prey to exhaustion because most animals don't sweat, so they overheat, collapse, and then become food. This process would sometimes take days. And guys, make sure you hit that like button because it really helps us out. Coming in at number 9, we have...
Which is weird, because you think that, okay, the way humans are built are way different than any other animal, even our close relatives when it comes to like the great apes. I think that has to do with how our body regulates heat and cold is a lot more adept, especially in those times when you were dealing with high heat and high cold like they were, or I should say low cold, right? Low cold's a good way to say that, but like, we process things differently than other animals do, so that might have been what played a part into that position. So like you say, there are faster animals out there, but they use so much of their energy just running, and we don't. Like, yeah, we can get tired, but if we take a few minutes, maybe like a minute or two break, we can keep doing that. Or I know people who are endurance runners that they can probably go with a half a day, if not a day longer, with just walking, and all they would need is just a little bit of water and a little bit of food to keep going. But other animals aren't so lucky like that. Their high metabolism makes them have to eat or drink more, so That's probably why our human hunting patterns were a bit different than everyone else than any other animals. It's because we could endure more uh, stress and more energy. Like we could waste our energy and it would count in the end. But yeah, I'm ranting a little bit. Let's get back to it.
Eradicated all the competition. There used to be a bunch of other species of human-like animals. Like, I'm sure that many of you have heard of Neanderthals. There's some people who have Neanderthal DNA. So if there was a bunch of human-like beings that were walking around the same time as us, how were we able to become the ones who came out on top? Well, one of the theories is that we were the best at warfare. All of the early Homo sapiens would go to war with the other species that were around them, and they took everyone out. I mean, they had some advantages that the others didn't. For instance, there was suspicion that they had the ability to throw spears overhead, which used to be the deadliest form of attack. Other species didn't have the dexterity for this, and that meant that they were easily wiped out, and back then we took no prisoners. Coming in at number 8, we have they were fueled by meat. There's a lot of evidence that meat combined with fire was the deciding factor in seeing humans evolve to stronger beings. See, humans were eating meat before we were able to use fire in a controlled sense to cook it, but we were eating raw meat, and when you're eating tons of raw meat, there's a higher chance that you're going to consume bacteria and parasites. So eating meat wasn't the safest, and our bodies needed longer digestive systems to digest this meat safely. This costs more calories, which is a precious resource for early humans. Now, when we started cooking meat, it meant that we could eat more of it and evolved to have smaller digestive tracts and bigger brains. So early humans were meat machines that were hungry to cook and burn all of the breathing creatures around them. Coming at number 7, we have sucking it dry. Now, as much as meat was a valuable source, it was still hard to get at times, and hunting was never easy. Hunter-gatherers are thought to have gotten 80% of their calories from gathering, but the early humans that were in charge of scavenging the land to find food did find a way to get some protein into the diet, and that was through bones. Scavengers would often bring back bones of dead animals, and humans found out that cracking the bones open and sucking the marrow out of them was a great source of protein. Actually, it's believed that for a long time, bone marrow was the main source of protein for early man. That is kind of a gruesome image to think of. A human cracking open the skull of another animal and sucking the marrow out of it like a gothic Capri Sun, but...
And now we just have it for its considered fancy and really expensive parts of dinner. Bone marrow is considered to be really expensive, especially on the type of animal it comes from. Like if you get like Wagyu bones from a Wagyu cow, and you get that bone marrow, oh my god, that's gonna hurt the wallet. But it's weird that humans went from doing that for necessary survival and growing strong with that to now it being one of the high class items on a menu. It's weird.
Back then, you didn't have the fine skills of a barbecue pitmaster. Sucking on some bones must have been delicious and a delicacy of its time. You would have to fight off other creatures just so you could taste that good marrow. Coming in at number 6, we have rub some dirt on it. You know that old saying, rub some dirt on it. That's supposed to be a sign of grit, something that sounds ridiculous, something that won't actually do anything for you and will probably make you...
My grandmother's told me this, my great-grandmother's told me this, and so has my dad. Rubbing dirt on it, I believe it stops infections. Well, obviously it's stuff that has like the bad dirt, but like good dirt that doesn't have anything in it, I believe it can stop infections, stop bleedings, and it also can like cool down places. If you get stung by a bee, I usually rub mud on it, and the moisture from the mud would just pull, or the dirt would just pull the toxins from the sting out. But I want to see what he says about it.
You feel even worse than when you first got hurt. Well, it turns out it might actually help. It's thought that early humans would actually take clay and rub it on their open wounds to try and heal them. Now, this sounds crazy. Why on earth would they do something like that? Well, they didn't do it just because they didn't know that much about medicine. It turns out that rubbing clay on a wound actually has some pretty strong healing properties. It would not only help the wound heal, but it would keep out parasites and bugs and stop the the smell from attracting predators. That's crazy when you think about it. Not the fact that it actually works, but the fact that the saying rub some dirt on it actually has some medical backing. What about our other sayings like easy come, easy go? What does that even mean? Well, I know what it means, but does it mean something more? Coming in at number 5, we have they had no homes. Early humans would travel around constantly. They were what's called a nomad. They had no home and nowhere to come back to every day. Could you imagine that life now? Every day you got to find a new landlord, and the next day you spend finding another landlord. In between that, you would stop at Burger King to eat and then move on because someone took your favorite spot. The reason for this was food. As we've already covered, the main source of food for early man was gathering and hunting.
If I was stuck in a time like that, I believe I would be just fine. Because my family, the people that I'm around, we still have some of those practices. We still have shelter building skills. We still have a bunch of things that would help us do this. But just think about it for a moment. If the world went to crap and you had to go back to being nomadic, would you be able to do it? Would you be able to do it? I could do it, but would you be able to? That's a question here. Let's get back to it.
Both these things involve moving great distances to collect as much food as possible and chase down animals. Now, it wouldn't make sense to travel hundreds of miles away from your home to get food and then burn all those calories to get back. So you would just set up shop in a new place and keep going. But once we figured out agriculture, then we would grow food in one place and start breeding livestock. Then we started sitting down a lot more and hanging out for most of the day. Coming in at number 4, we are evolving faster. Early humans were too slow. It took them 5 million.
Yeah, there was a point in time in history where the human race all of a sudden got this spike in human evolution, where we went from walking on all fours to walking on 2 legs to creating our own tribes to moving across vast distances, going across the Great Land Bridge, across from Russia over into Canada area right there. Like, all that happened in a short period of time, like a very short period of time. And then the Ice Age stopped, and then that's when humans started evolving a bit more. That's when some of the great kings of the world and the Vikings started coming alive, and all these different empires, like the ones in Rome and in Egypt, which is weird to think about because the original kingdoms came from Egypt and Rome and then moved on outwards, or the pre-recorded. We have no idea which area of the world had the first human civilizations. Like, it could be all the way in South America. I almost said South Africa. People already live in Africa. First human race came from Africa, but then you got races like the short little hobbit people, the Vinians, whatever the hell they're called. Like, they were in Asia and they probably evolved from there, and they didn't just disappear. Nothing just disappears. Stuff happens and we don't recognize it, and things get lost, but nothing just disappears. But that's just what he's probably going to cover, is how fast we actually evolved. This is what he's probably going to cover.
Million years just to go from rocks to iPhone 12. If I were in charge of all of this, we would already have robots that we can go on dates with and junk food that is way healthier than salad. But for real, there are some scientists that not only believe we are still evolving, but we are evolving faster. We could in fact be evolving 100 times faster than when we first discovered agriculture. This seems strange to me because it would seem that we don't need to evolve anymore because science is evolving for us, but that could be exactly why we're evolving at such a high pace. We are now exposing our body and ourselves to so many new things, new foods,
like
new
high information,
new chemicals,
more
new
technology.
climates. Some of us are even going into space. The body is now in hyperdrive just to try and keep up with everything we're putting it through. Coming in at number 3, we have Homo sapiens were creatures of love. I don't mean that in the sense that they were all about peace. No, not at all. We already covered how early humans might have gone out of their way to take out every other human-like thing on the planet. But they also went out of the way to mate with all the other human-like species. Many people today have traces of other species in their body, like Neanderthals or Homo erectus and many others. So it it would seem that some of us would want war and the others just wanted love, man. Now, why did humans have such an open door policy when it came to procreation? Well, we still don't know that, and it might give another answer as to what happened to all these other species. They might have just been bred out of existence. There's a chance that Homo sapien DNA was just that strong, and these other dudes got pushed out, just like how today blue eyes and red hair are starting to disappear. Coming in at number 2, we have they would banish you. There is a ton of evidence that shows early humans were very social animals. Way before we even knew how to build fires to hang around, we were gathering in groups. I wonder what we used to hang around before fires and water coolers. Maybe it was like a pile of bones or really cool rock.
Probably cliffs and rocks faces
and been such social animals, being sent out on our own would have been one of the worst punishments that you could ever receive. This would put you at risk for several reasons. For one, it would strain your mental health. I know that seems like a silly thing to say for early man,
but being on your own can really affect your mental health
for a long time. This would put them at the risk of dying from other animals. You would have no one to look over your shoulder, and predators always look for the weak one that's separated from the pack. But this would also make it hard for you to get food. You would have to scavenge all by yourself, and it would be extremely hard to hunt. And coming in at the number 1 spot, we have the age of metals. There is a time in prehistory when early man discovered metal. This was pretty simple metal, but as you can imagine, back then this would have been like discovering the nuclear bomb.
This is part of the human history that led us to create a huge boom. This created empires. Discovering metal like irons, coppers, gold, silver, like all those, creating bronze and tin. All these metals that we discovered early on and become after settling down just a little bit, this is what produced millions of cities across the world in a short period of time. Even though most civilization has died off and grown back up and died off and grown back up, it is a perpetual cycle of what the human race is. Like, we are on the verge of another society collapse. People don't really realize that, but at the peak of society of every social period, there is a catalyst that has it destroyed. Like in the time of the Roman Empire, that collapsed off because of discriminatory behaviors and some of the other stuff that was going on during that time. And then you got like people like the Incas and the Mayans. Like that time, their civilization just disappeared. I believe that we still have. You want cat? Get down. We still have situations that resulted in probably when other settlers came in to that area and they died off from disease. But I'm pretty sure they probably went into hiding or just transitioned into modern society now. But let's finish this video.
There was a short period of time where there were certain tribes that had access to metal, and other tribes were literally still using stones and sticks. Now, what do you think happened in that time? Do you think that they were nice and they went around showing everyone how to use these new metals so they could make the whole world a better place and we would one day all surf the internet? No way, Jose. During that time, there was massive bloodshed as tribes who had the edge knew what metal was and how to use it, and they would use it to attack the more primitive tribes. I mean, every time there's a technological advancement today, the same thing happens.
Well, you guys have stuck around for the entire video. If you've done that, please go and like these guys at Most Amazing Top 10 with their logos right there. And yeah, we'll continue to do more dark history and dark things. This is going to be a spooky session for the summer. When we get closer to fall area, that's when I'll be producing different content. But if you want me to react to other things, hit me up in the comments. Find my social medias. I believe I have them on my channel. If not, they'll be up there shortly. Please, like I always say, be responsible, get informed, and entertain yourself with all these videos. If you find errors or something in my explanations, or you think I'm just full of crap, let me know in the comments too. I like all types of criticism and comments on my channel. So let me know what you think. As of that, I'll see you guys in the next video next week.